Hey everyone! We all know how important it is to win lane in League. Winning lane is the first step to climbing. It sets the tone for the rest of the game and really is the most important part of it. So today I'm going to run you through the best runes for winning lane and show you an example of how I abuse it on a Smurf in gold, playing Orianna vs Zoe. With this setup, you should be able to win almost any lane while playing a mage. Also, Dopa runs this setup every single time he plays Orianna, so you know it's really good. So before getting into the gameplay, let's look at the setup. What you're going to be abusing is the Time Warp Tonic, Cookies, and Corrupting Potion runes. So you're going to have rune pages that look like this for most mages. On top of this, you're going to want to take TP. I don't take TP in this game because I'm against Zoe and want cleanse, but TP really makes this setup even more broken. We'll get more into this later though. Alright, you know the setup now, let's get into the gameplay. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, a sub to the channel would be incredible. So I'm going to start with Corrupting Potion as we talked about, and it's because Corrupting Potion gives a ton of mana and health sustain compared to Doran's Ring. This lets you spam abilities on champions that normally can't, for example Orianna or Syndra. If you start Doran's Ring and try to use Syndra Q or Ori W too many times, you just go out of mana and that's it. With Corrupting Potion, I'm going to essentially spam my Q and W and non-stop poke the Zoe. As soon as the lane starts, I throw my Q through the minions, hitting her as well, proccing Mana Flow. With this setup, you want to proc Mana Flow every time it's up, which you can see right above the ability bar. Then I'm going to constantly auto attack. I have an attack speed rune, which is another thing in your runes that you can take on certain champions. I personally like it on Orianna, LeBlanc, and Anivia, but by constantly auto attacking, I can push the wave without having to use my abilities and can use them on Zoe instead. Then, as soon as my Q is back up, I immediately use it on Zoe again. Notice where I'm positioned when I do this though. I'm already standing in a spot where I can move the ball right away. I didn't have to run into range. This is just good spacing. I'm not standing too far back playing scared and not too far forward where I can easily get poked, but in that perfect spot where I can move my ball without having to do anything else. After that, it's back to constantly auto attacking until Zoe goes to land a Q on me here. If we pause here, what should she do with this Q? Try to hit me or the wave? She should be trying to hit the wave for two reasons. First, I'm not in any position to get hit by the Q, and second, and more importantly, Zoe's main damage ability is blocked by minions, so she doesn't want to get shoved in like this. She needs to use Q on the wave so I can't push her in. She wants to thin it out and at least have the wave be evenly pushed. But if we continue, she was trying to hit me with Q, and since I hid behind the minions, she hits the wave, and then she makes a very big mistake. She walks up into my 3 minions and trades autos with me 3 times. It might seem like I only have one more minion than her, but because she's so far up and I'm back here, her minions barely touch me while all 3 of mine are hitting her. She can never walk up like this, and if Volley wasn't here, I would have gotten an even bigger chunk. She has to respect that I had the minion advantage, and she can't overextend. After Volley leaves though, it's back to what I was doing before, using Q on Zoe every time it's up and constantly auto-attacking the wave. Once I hit level 2, I can get my W, which costs 70 mana. Normally on Orianna, you really can't use it much, but with this setup, I'm going to try to use it every time it's up. You could be doing the same thing with almost any mage here. If I was Victor, normally you wouldn't want to use laser too much, but with the Corrupting Potion, you can just spam it. Same thing with Syndra. They nerfed Syndra mana cost big time. Both Corrupting Potion and Cookies, you can still spam and abuse her strong early game. Anyways, I get the wave crash on the tower now, so every time she goes for a last hit, I'm going to use my Q and W and try to squeeze in an auto if I can. I'm starting to get her really low already, and we know Volibear is topside since he ran through mid, so I just want to hug bot side. This is a very standard concept in mid, and it's very important. Whenever you know which side the enemy jungler is on, you want to ward and hug the other side. This seems obvious, but the amount of players that do this and say, wow, I barely ever die to ganks now, is crazy. It works very well, and you should be doing it every single game. Anyways, it's back to auto attacking the wave, which gets me level 3 first. I'm spacing just like before, ready to move my ball into range the moment she walks up, and land another Q and W. At this point, I've been spamming a lot, and I still have 2 Corrupting Potion charges, plus a cookie. I'm nowhere near running out of mana, whereas if I had a Doran's Ring, I would be out already. For this next trade, you can really see how my spacing is putting insane pressure on her, while keeping me safe from her damage. I'm in the middle of my wave like this, which puts me in range to hit her with my Q and W, but the moment she uses her Q, I can just move over and hide behind my minions and avoid any damage. This kind of pressure low elo players aren't used to, and you can tell by the way that Zoe is playing. She doesn't know how to switch up her approach to CS and is just taking a ton of free damage. What I mean by that is, in high elo, every single CS is tracked and contested based off cooldowns, wave state, matchup, etc. The most simple and common example is just melee vs range matchups. If you're playing Fizz vs Lucian mid, the first 3 levels, you should be eating her ass every time you walk up for a last hit. So sometimes I walk up acting like I'm going for it, then back up. Sometimes I'll Q a minion. Sometimes I'll go for a minion that's not in last hit range, but is in range to kill with an auto and W combined. This Zoe just walks up and autos any CS she goes for instead of moving in and out of my ball range, trying to maybe bait my Q, or using her Q to get the CS and thin the wave. Obviously, Zoe is making so many mistakes it's impossible to point them all out as it's gold, but you should get the idea here. Alright, after that last trade, she's in kill range. At the start of this trade, I'm behind my cannon minion. I come out from behind the cannon purposely to bait out her bubble. This is a trick you can do versus a lot of mages that have skill shots blocked by minions. For example, Ahri Charm or LeBlanc Chain. You come out from behind the minion for just a second, then immediately run back behind it. If you bait out their important cooldown, you have a big window to punish. This is exactly what happens here, so I bring the ball to me with E, then use Q, W, and auto to finish her off for first blood. Now I want to just shove in the wave and reset. On first base, you want to buy a Dark Seal and a Doran's Ring. Having these two with a Corrupting Potion and cookies with Time Warp is an insane early game start. The Dark Seal gives more healing and the Doran's Ring gives great stats for the early game. It's nearly impossible to lose lane with these items. When I get back to lane, Zoe got a Proto Belt off the wave, nice champ, so I need to respect it as she's running to me and getting aggressive. The thing is, she's playing a really dangerous game here. With her extending so far, if she misses her bubble here, I get a huge punish window and can just run her down the lane. So I do my best to dodge the bubble since it's harder in this elo than in high elo. I can really never tell what they're thinking, but I dodge it and immediately turn and lay on the counter damage. With Phase Rush, I get a bunch of autos in until I take minion aggro and back off. The minion wave is huge and I don't have any abilities left. If I try to keep fighting her, she'll win just from the minions. But I just use my E to block some of the damage as I'm retreating. Now she's pretty low again and the wave is pushing to me. She should be way behind her wave, waiting for her Corrupting Potion to heal her up, then attempt to use the wave to defend her as she pushes it in. We're going to let this play for a few seconds to try to see if you can spot her mistake here. Alright, did you catch it? It's right here the moment she walked past this pillar. Now she gives me an angle to run her down because she's way too far up with that little health. If she tries to run towards the tower, I can just cut her off, and if she runs in the river, I'll just run her down. She should be behind her range minions on the side closer to her raptors to stay safe in my ball range. So I'm just going to run at her until she flashes and ignites to try to get away, and I flash auto to finish her off. Alright, before we finish up the video, let's talk about how Teleport mixes in here. Teleport makes the strategy even more broken because you can spam and trade a ton, use all of your Corrupting Potions or cookies, then TP back in with full Corrupting Potion charges. And if they don't get a good recall, it's over. Because if you're trading a lot, they should be at least below 50% health, and if you have full health and full potions, they can't really do anything. You shouldn't get shoved in if you're spamming your abilities on them, so they shouldn't get a good recall. You would want to push, then recall, then constantly push so they can never get the recall off. They will eventually die under tower, or have to give up a wave. If you want to truly take your lane phase to the next level and learn how to convert leads into easy wins, then you need to check out our site skillcap.com. We have by far the largest catalog of guides on the internet. We've curated them into over 100 epic courses, and we release more than 10 new guides every week. We're so confident you'll improve, you can input your rank before signing up to see where we think you'll climb. If you don't hit that rank while actively using our service, you can claim a refund, so there's no risk. Sign up today to finally get the rank you've always wanted. Alright guys, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if in the item rework, they nerf Corrupting Potion as it really needs the nerf. It's way too strong when cookies are in the game as well, especially with Time Warp Tonic. But hopefully you understand the power of this setup and abuse it for some free laning phases in your own games. But that's going to bring us to the end of this video. We hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.